A man simply raised his rifle and aimed at an antelope, but when he pulled the trigger, he accidentally shot the antelope in the rear, watching the antelope run away in the opposite direction. The man didn't rush to take a second shot, because as a retired soldier, he knew the antelope was injured and couldn't run far. He then picked up the shell on the ground, calmly began to track it from behind, but when he reached the spot where the antelope was shot, he suddenly noticed a large amount of blood on the ground. This made him instantly realize something was wrong, so he followed the blood trail, and unexpectedly found a hunting dog shot not far away. At this point he realized there had definitely been a gunfight nearby. Following the principle of staying away from danger, the hunter began tracking in the opposite direction of the hunting dog. Sure enough, he found several cars parked at the foot of the mountain. To figure out what was happening, the hunter carefully approached to check the situation, but unexpectedly discovered that all the people on the ground were dead. It was clear that a fierce battle had just taken place. When he saw someone still sitting in a car, the hunter quickly raised his rifle, but to his surprise, the man just asked for a drink of water. However, the hunter didn't have any water, so he took the man's weapon and left. He then went to the back of the truck to check, and unexpectedly found an entire truckload of goods. Since the goods were still in the truck, it was certain that someone had grabbed the money and run, and that person might be seriously injured. But in such a hot summer, where could that person have gone? The hunter guessed the person must have gone somewhere cool to escape the heat. Sure enough, he quickly discovered a figure under a large tree not far away, but the hunter didn't rush to approach. Instead, he quietly waited in place for half an hour. Once he confirmed the person hadn't moved, he cautiously approached, only to find that the person had stopped breathing. Seeing a black box beside him, the hunter curiously opened it, and unexpectedly found it contained $2 million. He took the box back home, but when it was time to sleep that night, the hunter still felt uneasy, so he specifically filled a kettle with tap water, and under the cover of darkness, he went to the scene of the firefight earlier in the day, hoping to bring water to the person in the car. But when he opened the car door, he discovered the person had been killed. This made him instantly realize something was wrong. He quickly began observing his surroundings. The next second, he noticed several men's figures by his own car. It was clear he had been exposed. Seeing the men driving toward him, the hunter immediately turned and ran in the opposite direction. Soon the hunter was shot in the shoulder, but at that moment he didn't care, and jumped straight into a small river. At that moment, the hunter realized his license plate number would expose his identity. For the safety of his family, he immediately arranged for his wife to return to her family's home, and took the box of cash to stay at a motel. In order to learn more about the pursuers, he specifically hid the box in the ventilation shaft of room 137, and then quietly restored the vent to its original position, and rented the adjacent room 138. Little did he know, this decision would help him narrowly escape a disaster, because at this moment, the assassin Anton had already figured out his identity through the license plate number, and locked onto his target in room 137 using the tracker inside the box. In order not to alert the occupants, took off his shoes, and quietly approached the target room. Then he used a blowtorch to break the lock on the door, and immediately shot twice at the people inside. Although the people in the room were eliminated, Anton spent a long time searching, but he couldn't find the box. Little did he know, the box had already been pulled into the next room by the hunter through the ventilation shaft to escape, but he wasn't ready to give up tracking the hunter, so he used the